It started with silence. Not the usual peaceful kind, but the kind that feels wrong. The kind that makes birds stop chirping and insects stop buzzing, as if nature itself is holding its breath. The sun was directly overhead, casting sharp shadows beneath the trees and across the wooden fence that separated the open field from the denser brush. The air was dry and hot, and everything looked normal, until the second hand on the porch clock ticked to exactly 12 o'clock. That's when I heard it. A hiss. It wasn't loud, but it was clear, too clear, like it was directed. Not just a warning hiss, not a rattle. This was calculated, precise, meant to be heard. I looked up, expecting to see a snake sunbathing on the walkway or slithering near the tall grass at the edge of the field. But there was nothing at first, just stillness. Then Toby stirred. He had been asleep in the shade, as he usually was at midday, belly pressed to the cool stone near the porch steps. But something about the hiss changed him. His ears twitched, his eyes opened wide, and he didn't stretch or shake off the sleep like he normally did. He just stood, slowly, quietly. I called his name, but he didn't respond. He was focused, tense, as if pulled by some invisible thread. He stepped off the porch, his paws soundless on the dirt path, and moved toward the fence line. That's when I saw it. Emerging from the dry grass was a black line, thick, slow-moving, deliberate. A snake, but not just any snake. Its scales shimmered in the sunlight, almost oily, and its body moved with a strange rhythm, not in the usual slither of serpent, but with a strange weight behind it. Heavy, determined. Its eyes caught the light first. Bright, too bright, almost intelligent. Toby didn't growl, didn't bark. He just stopped a few feet from it and stared. The snake paused too. They were looking at each other, like they knew each other, like this moment had been coming. And then the wind died. No breeze, no rustle of leaves. Even the shadows looked sharper somehow. Everything around them, around us, felt paused, as if this one interaction was the only thing happening in the world. Another hiss came, longer this time, drawn out, almost a question. Toby answered, not with a bark, not with a whine, but by planting his paws firmly into the earth, shoulders squared, and lifting his head in absolute silence. His tail was still, for rays along his spine, his eyes locked with the serpent's. That was when I realized this wasn't an accident. The snake hadn't just wandered in. It had come here at noon. For him, they stood like statues, two creatures shaped by nature but now seemingly answering to something far older. Toby didn't twitch. The snake didn't blink, if it even could. The space between them held more tension than I've ever felt in a thunderstorm. The world around had gone quiet, the kind of silence that presses in on your eardrums and makes your heart sound louder than it should. It wasn't just watching an animal encounter anymore. It felt like trespassing on something sacred. The snake rose, not like a cobra spreading a hood or a garden snake rearing back. It lifted segment by segment until nearly half of its body stood upright, unnaturally tall, its head tilted slightly, the tongue flicking out, not as a threat, but like it was tasting something hidden in the air. Toby didn't move, didn't flinch. His hackles were raised, but his eyes remained steady, focused. He knew this thing. Or worse, it knew him. I took a step forward to call him back, to break whatever spell was unraveling before me. But before I could make a sound, the ground vibrated beneath my feet. Just once. A single low thump, like a pulse from beneath the soil. Toby shifted his weight, but didn't turn. And then it happened. The snake hissed again, louder this time, and Toby responded. Not with a bark, not with growl, but with a sound I can't fully describe. It was low, guttural, and layered. It didn't sound like any noise a dog should make. It vibrated through the air, through my chest. A sound that didn't belong to this time or this place. The snake jerked back, only slightly, but it was enough to notice. Its body tensed, scales rippling like water hit by a breeze. Toby stepped forward. Only once, but it was deliberate, measured. His mouth didn't open again, but the energy hadn't faded. It built, around them, between them, and then the light changed. No clouds overhead, but somehow the sunlight dimmed, like something was filtering it, bending it. Shadows stretched in the wrong direction. The air shimmered around them, like heat rising off asphalt, distorting the edges of their forms. I blinked, and for a split second, I didn't see my dog and snake. I saw two outlines of something else. Larger, older, as if they were wearing animal skins, but hiding something ancient underneath. Toby lowered his head slightly, and the shimmer snapped out of existence. The snake backed away slowly, its body lowering, its head tilting once more. And then, without a sound, it turned and slithered back into the tall grass. Toby didn't chase it. He just stood there, unmoving, for several seconds. Then, with the same calm he left the porch with, he turned around and walked back to the steps, passing over the exact spot where the snake had stood. And that's when I saw it. Left behind on the dirt, half buried by the dust, a scale, black, iridescent, and pulsing faintly. That night, the house was quiet, but it wasn't peace. Toby wouldn't come inside. He stood by the front porch, staring into the trees, even after the sky turned purple and the crickets returned to their nightly chorus. I left the porch light on for him. He didn't flinch. He didn't blink. He just watched. Something in him had shifted. I tried calling him in, tried whistling, even tempted him with his favorite treat. But he only turned his head slightly, as if weighing whether I could still be trusted, and then returned his gaze to the dark. Eventually, I gave up and left the door ajar in case he changed his mind. But he didn't. By morning, he was still there. Not asleep, just sitting, guarding, watching. The scale I had seen the day before, it was gone. I hadn't touched it, hadn't dared. But now there wasn't even a mark in the dust where it had been. Almost like the ground had healed over, covering its presence like it never existed. But I remembered it. I could still picture it in my mind perfectly. A single black scale, no bigger than a coin, but with that unnatural, pulsing gleam, like something alive had been sealed inside. Over the next few days, Toby changed even more. He stopped eating. Not completely, but enough that it scared me. He picked at his food. He drank very little water. And the strangest thing, he avoided mirrors. The large one in the hallway, the silver panel on the microwave, even the puddle in the yard after it rained. If he caught his reflection, he'd freeze, stare for a moment, then slowly back away. He never growled. He never whimpered. But he was scared. Not of me. Not of the house. Not even of the trees. He was scared of himself. Then, on the fifth morning after the standoff, I found something on the porch. A small wooden token. Rough, like it had been carved by hand, or claw. It wasn't there when I went to bed. I'm certain of that. And yet, it sat perfectly centered on the top step. No footprints. No scratches on the wood. Just the token. It had a serpent etched on one side, curled into an infinity symbol. And on the other, a dog's paw. Not cartoonish. Detailed. Lifelike. Between them, a single carved word. Returned. That's when the realization struck me. The snake hadn't come to kill Toby. It had come to retrieve something. Or return it. Toby hadn't fought the snake. He had fulfilled a role I was never supposed to see. And though the snake had vanished, something had stayed behind. That something was now living inside my dog. Or maybe it had always been there. Not everything that comes into our lives is meant to be fought. Some forces come to awaken what already lives within us. Sometimes what we fear is not what approaches from the dark, but what we might become when we finally face it.